Simba the King Lion started the weirdest animated universe Italy has ever created. The fact that this was outsourced to a North Korean animation studio that likely didn't have the most humane working conditions just makes it extra cursed.
What the fuck is this? This isn't the Dino King sequel. Disliked. Unsubscribed. Fuck you, Rick Raptor. I hate you. Nobody cares about this stupid Lion King cartoon. Review Speckles too. Also, your Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom review sucks. That movie was awesome.
Now, I know what piece of media people want me to review because I literally cannot escape the requests no matter where I go.
Yeah, it's gotta make it
So,
what?
Rick, what about the Speckles 2 review?
But I like to view these Rick Raptor review videos as some kind of personal filmography. And just like how a director will have some movies made for a mass audience and some movies made for themselves, I also prefer to mix up my videos as much as possible. And the one time I went with a mainstream movie was arguably a disaster. And since these Simba videos are my least viewed reviews and nobody feels personally attached to the show, I can afford to be much more experimental with them. In other words, I'm stuffing them with as many memes as possible. The whole reason this Simba video exists is just because I thought of a dumb Avengers pun. And because I happened to watch Saber Spark's review. If you want a proper review of Simba the King Lion, watch his video, not mine. I just pinpoint a few dinosaur related episodes on the show and riff on them. And I feel like I have already exhausted all the dinosaur stuff. But I still think these Mondo shows have a huge untapped meme potential.
Want to be dominated? We'll dominate you. We'll ask you to be gentle.
I will destroy you!
Somebody even made a Simba the King Lion tribute video using the Godzilla song. This is exactly the kind of ironic shitpost I would make. It's brilliant! Speaking of music, did you know that the Italian opening of Simba the King Lion has actual vocals? And they managed to make the music sound even lamer.
Simba, re Simba, sei guardi leone proprio campione. Simba, re Simba, la sfida comincia e chi ti fermerà.
Now, if you wanna hear something that actually slaps, you have to listen to the Arabic opening.
Simba, 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 Simba قادم Simba جاء Simba عند التل بين قطعان الضباء Simba قادم Simba جاء Simba عند التل بين قطعان الضباء.
But if we want to truly understand Simba the King Lion, we have to go back to where it all began. Episode 1, which is called The Lion King. Really subtle there, guys. The episode opens with Simba's father dying before you can even say Mufasa. Because why would we need scenes establishing the friendship between Simba's father and the other animals, when we can just assume their relationships based on their strong reactions to his death? All we get is a flashback at the end of the episode where Simba's father defends the wolves from the Jungle Book against Shere Khan.
Seems to me the wolves are the best teachers. Your niece already raised the little boy Mowgli with great success.
Oh, you probably thought I was joking when I called them that. No, this is a whole shared universe. Even though Mowgli himself never shows up in these Mondo shows. They apparently replaced him with someone more blonde and blue-eyed. Depending on how you see it, sitting through these Mondo shows is either super cringy or super hilarious. And the reason for that is the messy pacing, the animation errors, the awkward voice acting.
You should let them know who's in charge now. Yes, master.
And sudden change of tone.
You could have been hurt.
That is a very dangerous trap the hunters set up to capture us, Simba. You understand?
You are very lucky. Without Bagheera, you'd be gone. Like your father.
Damn, Car! What a cruel way to tell a kid that their father is dead. That's cold-blooded, even for a snake. The first episode of this show is just as random as the rest of it. 10 minutes after he learned about the death of his father, Simba is already frolicking around with his Bambi knockoff friend.
We came to offer you some leaves that will make you strong and healthy.
Thanks, but I'm a lion. I don't like to eat leaves.
I was hoping characters that were not from the Jungle Book, like the squirrel nurses or the owl with glasses, would be introduced in some logical way, but no, they're just there, and nobody questions why they have a piece of clothes.
Before I go to sleep, I want to entrust you with this book on the laws of the jungle.
Or why there needs to be an actual book with the laws of the jungle. Do these animals have court cases as well? The only way in which this first episode sets up the story is the reveal that the human hunter who shot Simba's father was led there by Shere Khan.
Shere Khan, your plan was successful. The king is gone. The hunter you led to him made sure of it.
Which probably explains why Shere Khan is the main villain that Simba has to face off against throughout the series, instead of the man who actually killed his father. Good thing we already know that this entire conflict eventually ends in a football match involving Maleficent and a boy voiced by Ash from Pokemon. Yes, comments, thank you for telling me. So now that we've covered the end and the beginning of the series, where do we go from here? Well, we have to go further beyond the beginning, to the original inspiration for Simba the King Lion. No, not the Lion King. Kimba the White Lion. Kimba started out as a Japanese manga series from the 1950s by Osamu Tezuka, who has often been cited as the father of manga and, subsequently, anime. Every piece of anime that you are enjoying today probably wouldn't exist without his Astro Boy series from 1963. And in 1965 he produced a TV adaptation of his Kimba manga. But what Kimba is really famous for is being ripped off by the Lion King. I mean, everybody knows the story. A young lion cub whose father has been murdered, his group of animal friends, a showdown at the edge of a cliff, even the names Kimba and Simba are similar, right? Ha! Wrong! The idea that the Lion King is a rip-off of Kimba the White Lion is actually one of the biggest misconceptions on the entire internet. And I did not realize this until I saw the Kimba video by Adam from Your Movie Sucks. If you don't want to watch a 2-hour-long video, which I can totally understand, his main point is that Kimba is a media franchise with hundreds of episodes and several movies. The Kimba franchise has already exhausted every possible option for animals, settings, and conflicts when dealing with a story about a lion in Africa. All those Kimba comparison videos you see online are manipulative, by stringing together scenes from completely unrelated episodes to make them appear more similar to scenes from The Lion King. As for the name, Simba is the Swahili word for lion, and Kimba's name in the original Japanese version was actually Leo. The translators based his name on a Swahili word but changed it to Kimba specifically because Simba is just a common word. Naming your lion character Simba is about as creative as naming your Tyrannosaurus character Rex or Rexy. There's even an African hyenodont with Simba in the name, and that one is not named after the Lion King either.
And yes, I know that Disney's The Lion King is a rip-off of the Japanese animation Kimba the White Lion, which makes this a rip-off of a rip-off. Does this scene look familiar? Yeah man, I can barely distinguish it from the other one.
Look with how much self-evidence I parrot the same misconception as everyone else.
This is as accurate to a real turtle as that new Sonic movie looks to the Sonic the Hedgehog games.
Yep, this whole video has aged phenomenally. So, if tropes are so common, is the Dino King really a ripoff of the Lion King? I actually think the answer is still yes. And the deciding factor for me is the part where the villain creates a stampede of herbivores and kills the protagonist's parent by throwing them off a cliff. Now that is a bit too specific to be an independent choice. The best way to get a grasp of how different Kimba is from the Lion King is to just watch some episodes for yourselves. One of the overarching themes in Kimba seems to be colonialism. Because despite living in the middle of the jungle, these animals are civilized and have a restaurant, a farm, and support genocide.
Why couldn't all the elephants be nice like Pee-wee? Then they wouldn't have had to be exterminated.
Hold up.
But since Your Movie Sucks already does such a great job outlining all Kimba media, I will try to keep this video relevant to my channel and just pick out the episodes I could find that feature dinosaurs. Because of course the Kimba show has dinosaurs. Episode 36, The Beast from Petrified Valley. The episode starts with Kimba investigating a valley that supposedly houses a monster that turns anyone to stone.
But what the animals didn't know was the real reason why the valley was dangerous. From out of the crags and crevices, there came a mysterious gas, which had the power to paralyze any creature who breathed it.
Well, that mystery was solved quickly. Nah, Kimba's perfectly fine again. He is the protagonist after all. He then gets attacked by... What is that thing? Yo, is that raw cork from Paper Mario the 1000-Year Door? The weird dinosaur gets his snout stuck in the rock, but Kimba frees him by dropping a fucking boulder on his head. This is Colosso, the last living inhabitant of this valley, and why he is not affected by the gas is never explained either. Despite his size, he's a softie who likes flowers and likes singing the same fucking tune over and over again.
Colossus coming! Colosso, come back!
The baboon then tells Kimba the story of Colossus' species.
Just east of our continent, there's an island called Madagascar. Now, on this island, there once lived a very proud and plentiful race who called themselves Brodo birds.
Brodo birds? What the fuck is a Brodo bird? So I am assuming they are supposed to represent the extinct elephant birds of Madagascar, except, you know, they have a beak with teeth, hands with fingers, and a long tail with scales. This is not a bird, this is a gigantic meat-eating Colindrodromeus.
Land bridge was formed linking them together. Now, for some reason, thousands of hedgehogs came across, and they carried with them a strange disease which felled the Brodo birds.
Oh my god, corona is not transmitted by bats but by hedgehogs. Oh, now the parrot got corona as well.
Colossus coming! Bye, he's a big one, isn't he?
Wow, he's a big boy!
So Colosso has trouble integrating into the animal community because he tramples onto flowers, sings all the time, doesn't work in their commune, and, well, he tries to eat a hedgehog. Guess he doesn't know what killed his ancestors in the first place. After an epic animal fight, they tell Colosso to go back to where he came from. Despite Kimba pleading for him to stay, Colosso leaves, thinking it will be the best for all of them. As he enters his valley, a heavy storm breaks out.
The legend of Petrified Valley is lost now.
Wait, what?
They speak about their friend, Colosso, who was the last of his kind.
He's actually dead? He's been living in this valley for who knows how many years, but this storm destroyed the whole valley? What the fuck kind of ending is that? So Kimba and his friends just have to live with the guilt of sending someone to their death?
A lonely creature who was part of the past and out of place in the present.
Honestly, I was not expecting such heavy themes in this Kimba TV show. However, Colosso has some more unfortunate underlying theme. If we pretend that all these animal characters are just dead animals, then Colosso is probably the best character in the episode, simply for acting like an actual animal that wants to hunt and kill. None of that hunky-dory hippie bullshit Kimba's community is pulling off. However, If we interpret these animal characters as representing people, then Colosso essentially embodies a sheltered human tribe that is just too wild and primitive to function in modern society, and has no other choice than to go extinct. And that is a very depressing message that also seems to be a little xenophobic. The fact that Colosso and the Brodo birds are never mentioned in any episode ever again, basically being erased from history as if they never existed, is especially haunting.
A lonely creature who was part of the past and out of place in the present.
But of course, the episode doesn't end on such a melancholic note.
And you'd better do something about that cold, Polly.
Tezuka produced a sequel show in 1967, in which Kimba's all grown up and has a son going on his own adventures. Except this time the English translation didn't call him Kimba, but kept the original name Leo.
Wow, it's Leo the Talking White Lion.
There's also one more thing about the English dub.
Where are you, Grandpa? Grandpa!
It's fucking awful.
Hey, Lamp, what is that animal doing? Don't you know? Haven't you heard, Captain Bad? Why, that's Leo the White Lion.
The voice acting is on par with a YouTube poop.
This is the life, Bad. It's the greatest sport in the world. What do you think? Call me Captain Bad.
Even Walking with Dinosaurs, the movie, sounds better in comparison.
Dude!
The budget seems to be even smaller than in the previous Kimba show, which you especially see in the action scenes, which are edited so horribly that they physically hurt to watch. The first episode we are looking at is episode 14, The Saber-Toothed Tiger, which starts with snow falling in the jungle.
Who's Pachyderma, Mommy?
Well, she's a mammoth who lives in a very high and mysterious mountain called Mount Moon.
Wait, Mount Moon?
Hi there, Pachyderma.
You think I'm joking, but this is what one of the frames in the show looks like. This female mammoth is actually a reoccurring character in the Kimba show. Her first appearance in the original show was in episode 12, The Hunting Ground, but she only shows up briefly at the very end. Most of that episode consists of Kimba getting tricked by a lioness, who works for a hot, evil huntress.
Then do it now!
When they chase Kimba, Mount Moon randomly appears and the mammoth scares the hunters away. Who would even dare fight such a huge mammoth?
Goodbye, Pachyderma.
My grandfather, who has been buried in the icy sides of Mount Moon for many, many years, is being threatened now by a saber-toothed tiger who is trying to dig him out.
Oh, so her grandfather is the mammoth cube. Damn, impalement in a kids show, that's brutal. If you can even call that impalement, with how badly the teeth are layered over these two lizards. And those are some huge saber teeth. That's not a saber-toothed tiger, that's a fucking walrus crossed with a Barioth. You can tell he is evil because he got no pupils and because he tries really hard to laugh evilly. After a treacherous journey where Leo's son almost falls down the mountain...
Whoa!
Honey, claws!
They reach their destination.
Father, what's that?
Holy shit, how gigantic is this fucking mammoth? The Barioth is gonna need a few more years to dig this thing out. Also, I don't think I need to tell you guys that the canines of a real saber-toothed cat are made for slicing through the soft parts of an animal, not for hacking into solid ice. After Leo fights him one-on-one, the Barioth calls in his army of... what are those again?
Say the line, Bart!
Those are triceratops.
But of course, Leo easily defeats the entire herd, and he does not even need to shoot lasers for that. Suddenly, a hailstorm shows up and an avalanche buries the mammoth cube, which leads to the most memeable moment of the entire episode.
Oh. Oh no. Oh no.
I love how sarcastic he sounds. It feels like a more drawn out version of this meme. Leo ends this by impaling him with a fucking icicle. And they meet up again with the mammoth.
I think I love you, Pachyderma.
I love you!
I really love you, Pachyderma.
The feeling is mutual, young Rooney.
Do you have any idea on how many different levels this is fucked up? The next episode I'm showing you is episode 24, Adventures at Volcano Island, which shows how awful some of the voices for the side characters are.
Well, what do you think scared the bats, Rooney? And where's it now?
In this episode they encounter a blind buffalo who is coincidentally voiced by the same guy as the Barry-Off.
Now you know. You feel better? I'm all right. My hide is much thicker than yours.
Leo's son builds a raft to carry the buffalo back to where he came from, and they arrive in some unknown valley, where they get captured by a tribe of humans dressed like sock puppets, which looks so weird that I don't even know whether to call that an offensive depiction of Africans or not.
The Mountain of Fire is greatly displeased with his children.
The tribe wants to sacrifice them to a volcano, I think. But when the volcano erupts, they escape with the help of the buffalo's herd, and the tribesmen are just gone. We don't even know if they died in the eruption or if they are just fleeing. And then there's suddenly a dinosaur. Where the fuck does this thing come from? Nobody ever said that this was some kind of lost world. It's just a random valley. None of the characters are even surprised to see a living dinosaur.
This fossil is a Ceratosaurus, an early dinosaur.
And damn, look how thick he is. That is the widest dinosaur with the most disgusting face I have ever seen. Leo arrives to save them from this massive chonker. How the fuck did he manage to spin back in the air? He just pulled a fucking Uno reverse card on physics. After Leo claws its eyes out, the dinosaur falls into the lava. And in a refreshing twist, it actually dies immediately. Here's a bunch of unrelated images. And the moral of the story:
You should never go far from home without your parents' permission.
Yeah, sure. That's a more easily digestible message for little children than, if somebody has trouble integrating into society, tell them to go back where they came from, even if it means their certain death. The final episode of this Leo the Lion show is episode 26, The Eternal Mount Moon. It starts with a human scientist giving Leo and his son a lecture on the history of the Earth. Of course the animals can communicate and work together with humans. At this point you shouldn't even question that.
Ah, it's Mount Moon.
It's called the Moonlight Stone. Scientists have found that the Moonlight Stones contain tremendous power and energy.
These stones also make your Clefairy evolve into Clefable. They go on an expedition to Mount Moon, and Leo's son wants to join them.
Good morning, Rudy. Did anyone give you permission to come with us?
Not exactly, but nobody said I couldn't come.
Why can't the little fella come along?
Thank you, Father, for letting me come.
You've come. I mean, I knew you would come, but you've come.
I have come.
Inside the mountain, they encounter dinosaurs and what the fuck? What the fucking fuck kind of dinosaur is that? Why do these ones have pteranodon heads? Why does this one have whiskers? How can a Japanese animation studio fuck up dinosaurs even more than fucking North Koreans?
Now that's not nice!
The mammoth absolutely destroys the dinosaurs and defeats the last one by turning it into a DeviantArt image. Even though this is the same mammoth character from the Sabertooth episode, she has a worse voice actress.
Now you boys should know better than to pick on my friends.
And they use her original Japanese name instead of an English name.
Hi there, Okafuro.
What are you doing on Mount Moon?
I'm guiding some humans to the top.
Humans?
No human has ever come down alive from Mount Moon.
Yeah, Mount Moon is this mystical, unexplored place, and she's the last living mammoth there as far as I know. But a human expedition that wants to exploit the mountain's resources?
Alright then, I'll go along with you halfway up the mountain.
Who the fuck writes an environmental story in which the animals are on the same side as the humans?
Eat this! It may not taste good, but it's good for your fever.
Thanks, but I'm a lion. I don't like to eat leaves.
Rooney, you and I are the first living creatures to stand on the top of Mount Moon.
Yeah, you sound absolutely thrilled about that.
I can't see a thing.
What a fog! I am the only one to come off this mountain alive. Just stay there. The group is doomed, but I'm not. I'm not.
So apparently this guy was the villain of the group, but we never see him again after this. I guess he just died off screen. And another guy becomes sick and walks away because he doesn't want to be a burden to the group. Really humanitarian message there, Japan. Telling children that people's lives matter less than a damn expedition. Leo and his scientist friend lose consciousness, but his son is strong enough to drag both of them with a rope off the mountain.
Rudy. Rookie.
Well, that's a nice ending.
Your entire expedition team is dead because you insisted to go there. You couldn't even bring back any of those magical moonstones. And you're not even going to acknowledge that? You're calling that a nice ending? And I thought Simba the King Lion had a shit conclusion. In 1989, a remake TV show was produced which was named The New Adventures of Kimba the White Lion, which finally has pacing and animation that makes it actually watchable. It's also got the best English opening out of the entire franchise. The episode we are looking at is called Red Wings and starts with Kimba saving a hawk mother and her chicks from a panther.
I know I'm a lion, but I won't hurt you. I give you my word.
Don't trust him, he's a lion! You expect me to believe a lion?
I have played enough Among Us games to know that you're just marinating us. Well, after saving them right again, she does trust him. Her youngest son is too scared to fly, so they try to lift up his spirits with a legend.
He could learn from the legend of the Gamera.
The Gamera?
No, not that Gamera.
A red-winged bird that, it is said, lives over on Stone Mountain. So she collected 1,000 red feathers from 1,000 birds and grew great red wings of her own and flew just from wanting it.
Yeah, sorry, that's not how aerodynamics work. But it is enough to make her son go towards the mountain to meet this red wing. So his mother dresses up in red and manages to inspire him to fly. And you are probably wondering why the hell I am even talking about this seemingly random episode. Well, that's because 2 minutes before the episode ends, we get to see the real red-winged bird. And it's a giant Archaeopteryx! With no explanation. None of them even acknowledge that this is a prehistoric dino bird. And the weirdest part, it actually doesn't look too bad. Of course, there's the common Archaeopteryx mistake of having the fingers stick out of the wings, even though the fingers are where the wing feathers should actually attach. But at least it has a properly feathered head and not some scaly lizard face like you see in verse reconstructions. I also love the vibrant red color. They even managed to be ahead of their time by showing the Archaeopteryx being capable of powered flight, while still spending most of the time on the ground. And in another surprising twist, it is not portrayed as some wild prehistoric monster. It's just protecting its own family. Why does this random Kimba episode from the 80s have a better depiction of a feathered dinosaur than so many modern dinosaur media? Not all of the New Adventures of Kimba the White Lion got dubbed into English. And there's one more dinosaur episode, though I could only find a Russian dub. In this episode, Kimba and an explorer fall into a valley inhabited by dinosaurs. How many hidden dinosaur valleys are there in this jungle? The only dinosaurs they encounter in this episode are Hypsilophodons and the Tyrannosaurus. Even though the Kimba wiki is like, but Tyrannosaurus isn't known from Africa, so this must be a Carcharodontosaurus. Yeah, I am sure these Japanese showrunners in the 80s kept that in mind. Like with the Archaeopteryx, they depict the Tyrannosaurus as an actual animal instead of a prehistoric monster, and Kimba can even communicate with it. But eventually the Tyrannosaurus gets sick because And surprisingly, they actually failed to save it from dying. So good job again to the showrunners for depicting a Tyrannosaurus as a vulnerable animal. And before you get too sad at this dinosaur's death, at the end of the episode it shows up as a Jedi Force ghost, so it's all okay. And I think now I have covered every Kimba episode that features dinosaurs. And that's it. So how much of Kimba was ripped off actually? Well, even from the little selection I showed, it should be clear that this show is way too broad in its themes and settings to have served as a blueprint for The Lion King. If anything, I would say Simba the King Lion probably ripped off more from Kimba than from The Lion King. As for the Kimba shows themselves, the ones from the 60s are so cheesy that I feel like nowadays you can only watch them ironically. And the Leo the Lion dub is practically a YouTube poop already.
Hey Lamp, what is that animal doing? Don't you know? Haven't you heard Captain Bad? Why, that's Leo the White Lion!
Complete with noisy scenes that are actually grating on your senses. The one from the 80s looks a bit more competent. Now, since I only watched these handful of episodes, I am sure some of you are still skeptical on why I am so sure about The Lion King not being a ripoff of Kimba the White Lion. How can we know Adam's YMS review is not just as manipulative as these Kimba comparison videos? Well, there is a YouTube channel that posts highlights from his editing streams, and they do a pretty good job documenting him going through all the Kimba media and showcasing it the way it is. And in one of these highlights there was actually one part that resonated with me personally.
There's no way you would make something like this unless you've got a chip on your shoulder about The Lion King for being a popular thing that people can talk about when what you really love is Kimba. And you're sad that you can't talk to anybody about Kimba. That doesn't mean that you should start throwing accusations of plagiarism at the artists who created The Lion King in ways that are entirely manipulative. They're an obsessive fan. They have an animal avatar. This was your show. This is what you had as a kid. I get it. You want to have more people that you can talk about Kimba to. You want to have more of them. But you cannot exaggerate the claims of plagiarism. Just because either you think, like, I don't know, more people will watch Kimba this way, or maybe I'll get some views. I don't know. It's a terrible thing to do to people.
If you haven't noticed, I am guilty of this very thing. This video right here is basically what happens if you just replace Kimba with Primeval and The Lion King with Jurassic World. It is the worst video I have ever made. And while it is tongue-in-cheek and I made fun of it with a follow-up video, I would lie if there wasn't a part in me that just wanted to interest more people in Primeval by creating a clickbait video. Just how Adam assumed it about the people behind those Kimba videos. So this entire review here is actually teaching me an important lesson in self-reflection. And with that, this weird trilogy of videos is completed, even though many of you probably didn't care about them. Speaking of, I will also no longer make these credits at the end of my reviews. They're just artificially inflating the length of my videos and most viewers don't watch them anyway. And it's not like putting some text in your video actually prevents Content ID from detecting something. That means you get to see what would usually be the post-credit scene right now.
Next time, baby.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!